And thank you everyone for taking out the time from your weekend to come learn with us. We usually set up the sessions because we understand that people are at different points in their careers, and there are some there are topics that people might not usually like know about. For me, when I heard about channel sales, I thought it was like the different channels where you do your outreach, but now I know it's like a full blown, career and everything. And I'm excited to hear about it. And I believe every other person is also too. So thank you for being here. Before I start talking too much, Ty has wealth of experience in sales. Before moving to channel sales, and now he is the CEO of Optical Diversity. So please, I know everyone watched their ears, but pay close attention. The pro is about to talk. All right, thank you, Ty. The mic is yours.
All right, definitely. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'm trying to share real quick, and for some reason it's not letting me share screen. So sorry, just give me
Um,
one quick minute here.
okay. Let me see something.
Um,
Let me add you as co-host. Okay, I think we
okay.
can see it now.
Oh, perfect. All right, let me just flip over here, and then let me go to presentation mode. And cool. All right, awesome. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, bright
Okay.
and clear.
Yeah, so I appreciate everyone joining. Thanks a lot, and thank you so much for having me. Like, it's so cool to be on Tech Sales Nexus. It's like such a cool program that you're starting, and I think it's awesome that you have like global community. So it's people from all over, which is great, and I think we need definitely more of those connections from people from West Africa to America to the UK to Canada to everywhere. Like it's so important. So I want to talk about today a topic that is very, very important. It's all around us, and it's a industry that I've been in for quite a while. So I'm going to talk about channel sales and really just what that pivot is like going from tech sales into the channel sales industry. So just about myself. So I've been in the technology sales industry for about 18 years. Like I literally started like just right after just high school. I started working just regular retail store selling internet, here in America. That's when I was living in Boston. And from there, I eventually moved up into getting into working at a call center where I was selling internet and TV services and just regular telecommunication services over there. And then after that, I got into management. So I started managing my own team that was in a call center. And then I started doing outside sales, or I was managing outside sales teams and then outside sales like vendors and resellers, which is essentially, my first kind of channel management role. And then eventually I got into more of like the, I guess, enterprise style of channel management role where I was actually managing enterprise vendors that basically were selling the internet and the cloud services to a lot of the big, buildings, and talking about casinos and hospitals and hotels all over the United States. So that was my most previous role. And then recently, just in the past just a few months this year, I stepped out to be a independent partner. So I have my own company now called Optical Diversity. So basically, I am working with various developers all across the USA to help them get telecommunication services inside of their buildings. I partner with plenty of telecommunications partners that all around. I can also do global orders as well. So I can do sales of services all over the USA, but I also help empower people and I teach people like how this industry works. I collaborate and I do deals with people that are getting into the industry. Most of the things I've worked on right now are on the Las Vegas Strip, a lot of the big casinos and hotels, and I'm slowly branching out to other areas right now. So that's just about me and my background. In terms of accolades, last year I won Channel Manager of the Year. So big award in where I won that over the various channel managers at like Google and Microsoft and Palo Alto Networks and all these other companies. So that was my, I guess, biggest accolade that I got so far. So enough about that. I do want to jump into just tech sales and channel sales, and I know that there were some questions. So Kachi, did you want to ask the first four questions? Then I can answer those, and then I will jump. Oh, actually, no. If you want, yeah, I'll jump into the deck, and then I'll have you answer
Yeah,
afterwards. So yeah, let's do that.
yeah.
So,
Okay. All right.
so this deck will kind of answer a lot of the questions here. So first thing is talking about what is channel sales. So you heard me talk about it now for the past few minutes. So channel sales is essentially um, is when a company, a corporation, a business utilizes like third party like resellers or partners, affiliates to essentially sell, resell a company's services. So this is very similar to like affiliate marketing. We're just talking about it in the technology space. So this could be with telecommunications products, fintech, et cetera, et cetera. When we're getting into like career paths in channel sales, it's important to know that there's two different key career paths. There is the actual channel partner, which is really being like a third party vendor or an affiliate, whether you are a referral partner. So you're the person that is independent, but you bring business to a company. So let's say Microsoft, you know a few startups in your community and you bring those startups to Microsoft. You recommend to those startups, hey, you should use Microsoft for your email or for Teams, or you recommend Google Chrome to them. That is essentially being a channel partner by referring those businesses over. You are essentially entitled to compensation, and there's different compensation models that we're going to get into. For a channel manager, this is a little different. So channel manager is essentially like a salaried employee that is really the person that manages this referral program. And typically, almost always, the channel managers usually come straight out of a tech sales or pre-sales role. And the reason why is because when you're in tech sales, you're selling the product, you're learning all the ins and outs of the right ways to sell, the way the product works. So when you're actually a channel manager, you're teaching all the things that you've learned from being in tech sales for all those years to independent referral partners, resellers, and anyone that you feel can recommend your services. And oftentimes you're usually partnering with tech sales employees because sometimes those partners will collaborate with existing tech sales employees to sell services together. But the channel manager is the person that's at that company that bridges those groups together. So they bridge the account executives and they bridge the independent partners, the vendors, the resellers together to close a deal. And a channel manager is essentially like your next role up. Like if you're in tech sales right now, you're like, all right, I've been in tech sales for years. I'm tired of jumping from tech sales job to tech sales job. What job do I look for? Channel manager is like the next role up. And sometimes it's called different things. So sometimes it's called partnership manager, referral manager, affiliate manager, or like a resell manager or referral program manager, something of that nature. A lot of companies call it different terms, and this is global. These are like roles that are available in almost every country you can think of that has technology companies. And going into the channel manager part, the things that to remember with channel management is that it's very much relationship driven. So anything dealing with like managing the interactions, because you're dealing with people, so you're dealing with managing your sales employees that are focused on selling and they want to get paid, but you're also focused on like partners, and these partners that you're focused on have their own initiatives, because the partners can refer and resell anything. They often don't have the same initiatives as salespeople. So you're typically bridging those together when you're a channel manager. But there were some questions that I know the team had about channel management. So I want to jump into those questions because that's going to kind of cover kind of the next section. And then after that, we're going to jump into the next phase of it, which is going to be um, oh, well, actually, well, no, you're right. trying to remember here. So yeah, so actually, I'm going to get to the questions afterwards. I'm going to jump into the next phase of this. So yeah, sorry, fellow brain fog there. So channel
No,
management
it's
is
totally
yeah,
fine.
it's still early over here in the US. So channel management is essentially managing the various relationships. So I want to talk about the next part of it, which is channel partners, because in order to be a good channel manager, you have to understand how channel partners work, how they operate, how they're compensated, just how people become channel partners, just all of that. So I want to get into that piece of it because the channel manager is a really cool job. It's a really cool corporate job. I think everyone should, like, if you're in tech sales, should like look into that job, especially for the future, because it's usually a very comfortable role. But to do that role, you have to understand how partners work. So that's why I want to go into this section about channel partners. So understanding channel partners. So in this section, I want to talk about first, what do partners sell? And they sell a lot of the things that are all around us. So that would be your telecommunications, your internet, your phone services, cellular services, landline services, fiber internet, satellite internet, all types of internet. TV services, so any type of TV services, whether it's hardline TV services, mobile TV services, satellite, security, physical like security cameras. There's cloud services and all sorts of like wide area networking, data center solutions. These are commonly sold by partners. Cybersecurity services, there's so many types of cybersecurity services that are available, from like, there's like firewall solutions, penetration testing. There's all sorts of offerings that partners can offer in the cybersecurity space. In fintech, there's plenty of financial technology products that are also sold by channel partners, just independently. And then all the different SaaS solutions. You think about all the different types of software that's out there, from whether it's Salesforce or Workday or Zoom, Microsoft. So all of these services are generally sold by partners. There's a these are really really important, high revenue earning products for them. And then also hardware. So if you think about hardware such as like just infrastructure, like Cisco equipment, whether that's like Wi-Fi equipment, or whether that could be servers, any types of hardware, printers, copiers, so computers even, so even like physical, phones, Apple computers, all of that are things that partners can sell. And partners can sell all these independently without actually working for these companies. Anybody on this call can technically sell any of these services without working for these companies as an independent partner. So why would someone want to become a channel partner? Like, why not just like, if you're going to sell, why not just work for these companies directly? The main reason is really the fact that it's your business, so you can run it in any way you want. You don't have a boss. You are completely independent. Your compensation, which we're going to get into, is typically going to come from either residuals or upfront commissions off of what you sell. But it's your company. You can employ who you want. You can work where you want. You don't have to be in an office. You could be remote. You could be anywhere. You could be in Australia selling services to the USA. You could be in the USA selling services to the UK. You could be in the UK selling services to Nigeria. You can be anywhere. Like there's no like there's no rules on really how you sell, and you can sell in any way you want. You don't have to cold call. If you want to just travel around to conferences, if you want to go to South Africa and hit a conference and network and find customers there, and then you want to go and travel to Dubai and go find customers there, or if you just want to go and like go online and just go in chat rooms with CTOs and talk to them. There's no telling of like what you can do. You have completely free range of how you want to sell. And then in terms of the commissions, you can get some really, really good commissions, because if you think about, when you're talking about enterprise level services and some of these commission rates that we're going to get into, which are going to be around like 10 to 20% commission rates, like a lot of these companies, if you get with like a Fortune 500 company, so you think about, let's say if you had a very, very big restaurant chain that had 500 locations, or maybe you had a global company, maybe you had something like Louis Vuitton or Mercedes Benz, and these companies have offices everywhere. So you think about how much like these companies spend in technology and it's a lot. It's way up in the millions. Sometimes it's in the hundreds of millions that these companies spend in just their technology, just their internet, their cloud services, their backup, their cybersecurity, and all of that. Like, imagine you being the person that sold all of that to them and just getting a residual payment every single month of 10% or 20%. Like the residual income factor of this makes these partners' lifestyles really, really good once they land a really big customer, because as long as you sell it, you're going to get paid on it continuously until the customer decides to cancel that service. And many of these large companies, they will always need certain services. They will always need, internet and cloud services and cybersecurity. Like, there's never going to be a time where Mercedes is not going to have internet. Like, that's always going to be needed. So that's a huge factor, when it comes to being a channel partner. Now, who can be a channel partner? There really isn't any requirements to be a channel partner. So we're going to get into the types of partnerships that you can kind of get into, but just know that anyone can be a partner. So it doesn't really matter who you are. Now, not everyone can be like a successful partner. There are some selling skills that are needed. There's some self-motivation aspects that's needed as well. But when it comes to becoming a partner, there's no experience, there's no degrees, there's no certifications, there's no nothing. You could have something on your background. And why is because you are essentially an independent, person. Like, you're an independent business owner. Like, you must have a business. Now, for a business, it doesn't have to be anything formal. It doesn't have to be like a corporation with a board or anything like that. But having something where you can at least have a business bank account personally, whether that's a depending on the country that you register to your business, that could be like an LLC. It could be like a local sole proprietorship. Now, depending on the services that you're selling, sometimes you have to have a business registered in that particular country. Like, for example, if you are going to sell if you are going to sell products that are from companies that are generally like US based. So these would be like some of like the Silicon Valley kind of companies, whether you're trying to sell, Microsoft services, or, maybe Google services or things like that. Then typically the only requirement that you need is just a company that's registered in the US, but you don't have to be in the US to have a US based company. Like, you can be anywhere all over the world and you can have a LLC or a C Corp. And there are organizations that are available that can actually help you register those entities as well. So that, and I know of one actually in Nigeria called Go Nomad. That's a startup that actually does that. It helps people get LLCs in America or the UK as well for these types of purposes. But that's really it. Other than that, like, once you have like a registered business, you can just go and resell as much as you want. So that's why people become partners, because sometimes people can't get jobs at these corporations. Like, if you can't get a job at Microsoft, it doesn't mean that you can't sell Microsoft. You could just be an independent partner and be a Microsoft reseller, and you can sell Microsoft. If you can't get a job at Amazon, you can become an Amazon reseller. Like, don't let employment stop you from selling these particular services. That's the whole beauty of the partner industry. So going into the next phase, I wanted to talk about like the types of channel partnerships. So when a partner is becoming a a when someone decides that they want to become a partner, there's kind of two different routes. And the first route is a direct partnership. The second route is a distributor partnership. So a direct partnership is basically you going to a local service provider directly. Typically, you would go to the channel manager or whoever is running that channel program or referral program, and you would sign up with them directly. So let's say if your internet provider is Airtel, or if it's MTN, or or if you wanted to maybe be a reseller of Microsoft directly or Amazon directly, or maybe Cisco, you would go to whoever is running that channel program regionally in your area, and they would basically walk you through the process of getting signed up. There's usually no costs. They typically just want to know that you have like a registered business and a bank account so they can pay you. And then there's usually some forms that you have to sign that essentially show that you're aware of what you're going to be paid, and that you're aware of the products and services that you have the ability to sell. But these are individual agreements with each company. So you'd have a separate contract with Microsoft, a separate contract with Amazon, with Cisco, with MTN, with Airtel, with Zoom, with all these different organizations. Now, the second model is a model that's a lot cleaner to do if you don't want to have all these different agreements with all these different organizations. There are these organizations that are out there called distributors, and distributors are really, really interesting because partners, when they join into a distributor program, they immediately get access to become partner resellers of all of the hundreds and hundreds of companies that a distributor is partnered with. So for example, the distributor that I work with is called Intelisys. So when I joined to become a partner, I literally just sent like a 2-sentence email to Intelisys, hey, I want to join your program. They responded back, great, let's jump on a call next week. Does Tuesday at 10 o'clock work for you? I said, great. And then I jumped on the call. They said, hey, here are all the products and services that you can sell if you join Intelisys. There's no cost to join our program. You can sell services all over the world. You can sell services in Canada if you want to sell Rogers Internet in Canada, if you want to sell, Airtel in Nigeria, if you want to sell, Telstra in Australia, if you want to sell, Microsoft services globally, if you want to sell Palo Alto services globally, you have the ability to do all of that. You can sell Viasat Internet in the Caribbean, like anything that you want to sell that's on this list, you can sell. So I said, okay, great. That's easy. The only caveat with distributors is that, hey, for us allowing you to sell all of these services, there is a small portion of your commissions that we will retain. And for each distributor, that's going to be a different percentage, depending on the distributor. Maybe that's 10%, 20%, 30%. There's a portion. But with that, there's always something that is like, hey, but in return, we will support you by providing additional services for you, such as free trainings, or that could be also they could provide like sales engineering support. So you have like a sales engineer, or project management support. So you have like their project management team that you can use if you get an order in. So there's usually kind of a trade-off, and they also track your sales, track your commissions for you, and do a lot of that auditing financially. So you don't have to do that if you're independent. So that's basically how a distributor partnership works. There's plenty of distributors. They're all over. There's about like 10 really big ones globally. So if you want to reach out to me after, I could definitely go over more of like the different distributors and how to get signed up with them, and the requirements and all that. But the key thing is that there's no cost to become a partner. So that's the main thing. Sometimes there's requirements on your actual company, but there's usually no costs. I did want to point out this one small thing here with direct partnerships. So sometimes direct partnerships, when you sign up directly with these companies to be a partner, they usually require you to have a certain amount they have to sell. But in other cases, that may not be the case. It's going to depend from company to company. But distributors, when you sign up with a distributor, you're not adhering to quotas or things like that, because the distributor is really handling that part, because the distributor has thousands and thousands and thousands of partners. And just to cover that number, if someone's wondering like how many partners are there, all over, it's estimated that there's over 400,000 partners globally. That estimate comes from Microsoft, just from their database of how many partners that they have, globally. So there's 400,000 different resellers of companies like Microsoft and Amazon and all of that. And some of these people do it full time. Some of these people work in tech sales, and just on the side, they are now basically just now selling products and services. So which gets into the next, phase of how large this industry is. Globally, it's over $1 trillion. It's really hard to estimate actually, because it really just aligns with the technology industry, which is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. It continues to grow and grow, especially when we're talking about all the new software that's coming out, AI software and all of that. So basically, when you think about a lot of these products and services, many of these services are sold through partners or channels. A lot of times we just don't realize it. Like even Microsoft said that 93% of their products and services are actually sold either through a partner or with a partner, somewhere along the lines of their ecosystem. So it's really been all around us. It's just one of these things that we just don't often notice. So when you see like things like, hey, sales jobs might be tightening up on the tech side, it's never really the case on the partner side, because on the partner side, you're just going independently and you're just selling those services, with or without a sales job. You're doing the job that you would have had anyways. You're just doing it on your own terms. But I want to get into uh, well, yeah. So I want to get into to the commissions. Ignore this part here. So the commissions, there are different ways that partners can get paid. So this is important here. And for the different commissions, we have uh, so so first there's the residual commission model, which I kind of mentioned earlier. So basically how a residual commission model works in a real life scenario. So let's talk about just a internet service deal. So let's say you are working with a big warehouse, and this is a warehouse that takes shipments. It's a big fulfillment center. It's 200,000 square feet. It's huge, and in that warehouse you're going to have maybe 50 to 100 different workers there. You're going to have mobile devices, some robotics that are there as well, and they're going to need internet, really, really, really good internet. Something like dedicated internet service. So let's just say that internet costs $1,000 US service per month. Let's say it was really fast internet. It was a 1 gig internet speed. So typically that company that of internet that you sold, depending on who it was, maybe it was MTN, maybe it was in a different country, maybe you sold it, here in the US, maybe it was Verizon. There's usually some type of commission rate that they provide for basically selling that if you're a partner, and that's anywhere from 10 to 20% um, of that monthly service. So you think about $1,000 a month, you take 10% of that. Now you're going to be looking at basically either $100 per month or $200 per month, and that would be coming to you every single month. Like that's like nonstop. It just continues to come as long as they keep the internet. Now, where it starts to add up is, let's say you sold the internet, your customer's happy. Hey, great. Now I have a bunch of other warehouses all around the world. I have 100 different warehouses that I also need internet for as well. Can we do the same service everywhere else? So now, you might be getting $100 to $200 per month, just every month is coming in nonstop without you doing anything. If you go and sign up all the other ones, then that number now will start to increase pretty quickly from 200 to 2,000 to 20,000 now. What we're looking at if we get that many. So there are partners that's what they do, or that's what they did. They did 1 or 2 deals for hundreds of locations, and now they wake up every month to a check from their you know company that they sold of 10,000 US per month every month, 20,000 US per month, et cetera, et cetera. But the caveat is that these people that are getting this, they don't always like live in these major markets. They don't always live in like the UK or the USA. Like many of them live all over. Some might have sold that from Bali, or some might have sold that from some beach in Australia. Because realistically, all you're doing is all these partners do is they just basically provide the options to the actual customer, and the customer says, great, tell those companies to send me a contract. And then when you tell your internet companies or cloud companies or software companies or fintech companies or whoever it is to send them a contract, they sign the contract, and then that's it. Like your job is the partner's job is done. So you're going to continuously just get paid every time they're paying their bill. You're getting like 10 to 20% of that, and that's just nonstop, just always. So the next type of commission is one-time commission. So one-time commission is a little different. So typically how this works is like when there is and each company pays different types of commissions. Some companies pay residuals, some pay one time, some pay hybrid. The ones that pay one time usually align it to the terms of the contract. So in that case, if they were doing like a one-time payment, they probably would have did, hey, it's $1,000 a month internet, and you did a 3-year contract. So let's just take 3 for the 3 years times 1,000, and we'll give you a one-time payment of, $3,000 upfront. Or sometimes it can be more than that. Sometimes it's paid up on a multiplier. So hey, let's do the multiplier is 5 is what we pay out if we do a 5-year contract or if we do a 4-year contract. So your package that you sold them was $500. So $500 times 5 equals this amount. It's just a one time that they get. Now, keep in mind, there's no salaries for partners or anything like that. This is just the only means of income because they are independent business owners. They got to get their own insurances and all that too. So, but that's how the one-time commission model works. Last one is hybrid. So hybrid is going to be a little different. It's a mixture of both. Companies that pay hybrid are typically companies that are in like the um, contact center, call center, software industry. Those are the ones that are known for paying hybrid. A lot of the phone companies, so think of companies like maybe Dialpad or Ring Central or Zoom, or Five9 is another one. 8x8 is a global company that pays hybrid commissions, and the hybrid commission model, it changes. These commission models change all the time, but what that means is, let's just take 8x8 for example. If 8x8 is, let's say, doing a hybrid commission, let's just say you did a call center deal for them. So you did 100 locations, 100 people in a call center, and each person, in terms of like their phone system, their call center software, all of that, let's just say all of that combined is $100 a month per employee. So you take 100 people, $100 a month. Total you're looking at is $10,000 per month. So if they are offering a it's called basically like a spiff commission, which is a one-time commission, but that's kind of like the jargon that they use. That they use the term spiff, SPIFF. That means one-time commission. So if they're offering a promotion where they say, hey, if you sell our services, you'll get our residual rate. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20%. It all depends on what their rate is. But then you also get a spiff of 10 times whatever the monthly rate is. That means in that case, since it's $10,000 a month for that call center, you're going to get an upfront amount of $10,000 times their multiplier, which is that 10x. So that means $100,000 is what you would get upfront for doing that deal. And we're talking like US dollars here in this scenario. And then you would also get their residual rate. So let's say if their residual rate is like, let's say it's 10%, for example. We'll be looking at now basically 10% of 10,000, you get $1,000 a month every single month. This is like in addition to the $100,000 you got up front. So these are real scenarios. This is what partners are actually getting. These deals happen nonstop all day, every day. There's tons of partners all over the world doing these deals and, living quite well off these deals. But that's basically how partners are getting compensated. So last thing I want to kind of dive into is, why do companies purchase from partners? So one, partners are a one-stop shop, meaning that like they could sell anything. So if a company is like, hey, I'm starting a business and I need everything. I need to get like a POS system. I need computers. I need internet. I need, phone services. I need cell phones. I need, TV for the bar. I need all of that. Partners can now bring in all the various companies needed and just provide just a combined solution. Like, hey, just sign all these contracts, and we'll get you the TV service from this person, the internet from this person, the cybersecurity from this person from this person, but you're going to work with me. Like, I'll be the person that will get you all these solutions. It saves the business time for having to call all 20 or 30 of those companies to order services and have to deal with 20 or 30 salespeople. They're just dealing with one person. And they also have like different things that they add on top of that, like different values, like, hey, and on top of that, I'll install it for you. Some of them do that. Not all of them do that. There's a lot of partners that literally never leave their house. They just literally do this off a laptop. So, but some partners, add a little extra, like, oh, you'll get my expertise, you'll get my unbiased opinions. Price transparency is big. Some partners are big on just like, hey, I will show you all prices and discounts and everything. Like there's no hiding. Like I'm not going to sell you because I get paid no matter what you pick. So anything that you want to know, I will provide you. But that's why companies like dealing with partners. Other reasons is partners can like basically pool services from different providers. Like think of a company like Louis Vuitton. Like when I was a channel manager, I worked with a company that managed the Louis Vuitton relationship. Louis Vuitton is everywhere. Like I can't even think of a country that doesn't have like there's very few that don't have like Louis Vuitton somewhere. Like Louis Vuitton stores are in the airport, and not necessarily just Louis Vuitton, all their brands. Like they're everywhere. So think about how complicated that is for them if they want to get internet services from all these different internet providers in all these different countries and locations. It's better for them to just work with one person that can get all of that info, or that could even find global providers for them, but that can do all of that info for them for free. Like basically Louis Vuitton isn't paying the partner. The partner is getting paid by the companies that Louis Vuitton is signing up for. So the partner is like a free employee to Louis Vuitton, basically. But that's basically when we're talking about like the aggregation of multiple services. That's what we're referring to. They can deal with any provider. And sometimes there's additional things that they offer. Like some of them do like managed services. Like you might have heard that, where it's like, hey, I have a team of 10 people that will basically be on call and answer any of your questions 24 hours a day. Like you don't have to do that. Partners don't have to do that, but there are some that do that. There's some that provide their own order tracking, sales engineering, all of that. Um, the last thing, how partners basically get started is, like I mentioned, to summarize, they join a program. So they join either a distributor program so they can become resellers of all of these services, or they can also get into a direct partnership with individual service providers. Once they're in, they will now learn about the services that they're partnered with. So they usually are eligible to get trainings, sometimes even certifications, so they can be better salespeople of these services. And then after that, they generally start selling. They go out there, they network, they sometimes they cold call, sometimes they have different like social marketing, social branding that they do to pull in customers, SEO, all different tactics. And the same tactics that a business would use, they would utilize to pull in customers. And then they would partner with that channel manager and that salesperson to actually go and close the deal. So I want to now get into questions, and I want to dial it back into also the channel management part, because what I just explained there, all of that was understanding how channel partners work. So it's important to know what channel partners do if you're going to be a channel manager, because if you're going to be managing these relationships, you have to understand like how these channel partners operate, how they get paid, their business model. Like if you call a channel partner and the partner is like, hey, like I'm in Aruba right now, I don't feel like selling anything for a month, then that's it. They don't feel like selling anything for a month because they don't have to. They're getting residual income, and that's like the stuff that channel managers have to actually deal with, because the channel partners they're not on the sales quotas and everything that everyone else is on. They can sell something once and get paid on it forever. So it's important to know about how channel partners are before you become a channel manager. So I know there were some questions about channel managers, so I'll let you take it away for the questions um, for channel management and how it relates from like tech sales to channel management and all of that.
Okay, thank you so much. While you were speaking about channel partnership, it just clicked. The last company I worked with was a channel partner with Oracle NetSuite, and I was, employed as a salesperson to, tech sales, book calls with, companies in like the US and Canada. It was when you said speaking, I was like, oh, that's what it is. So it's like a full blown business. Somebody just decides, oh, I want to resell NetSuite, or I want to resell, say,
Yeah.
Microsoft and Google and all of that. That's that's very that's a whole business actually. So we just learned how to like open up a full-blown business. Thank you so much, Ty. This was really insightful. So I'll just take it up, with the questions. I know we have, very few time, so I'll just ask like very strategic questions, like what are like the challenges people, will face transitioning from, like, say, tech sales to like channel management. I think that's, the right word to use.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is typically when you go from from a tech sales role to a channel management role or like a partnerships management role, you are going to be asked questions in that interview that involve your previous experience with partners. And the problem is, like, if you didn't have any previous experience with partners, it's hard to answer those questions. So what I always
Mm,
recommend is to always have some type of experience at least coaching people, even if you're like in sales. Like if you're just in sales right now and you have a small team, even if you work remote, just find somebody on your team that you can help. Even if you help them close a couple deals, even if you teach them something, and just make note of that and make note of that story, make note of the success story, because those stories you can use those for the interview, even though it's not a partner scenario, it's still helping someone else sell, because that's
mm,
really
mm,
what channel partnership is. You're helping someone else independently sell. And sometimes you're helping people sell when it doesn't benefit you, because when you're a channel manager,
mhm,
not all the things that partners sell benefit you specifically, because you might get only paid commission on certain products and services. Um,
mhm,
so it's still having that willingness to do that. But that's my biggest recommendation, is that if you're in tech sales, have examples and just find random people on your team or friends or even people in this community that you can actually reach out to. You can help out, you can help them sell something, you could give them advice, give them some mentorship, and just make notes of that for these interviews.
Okay, thank you so much. Um, Everyone, so as we speak, when you have questions, please do not just drop it in the chat and I'll take them, as we go. I'll just work with the two questions as much as I can. So I I think, the next question, it's more around the channel partner side. So it's more around how do you build relationships, when selling, as a channel partner versus like selling directly to as a tech salesperson.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll kind of answer that in both ways. So because as like a channel manager, so let's say if like you are managing like your channel partner program for your company, you will have to build
Mm.
relationships with like partners and find partners to resell your services. Like for example,
Oh.
there's someone that I know, that I actually met through like an online community that is that's actually not in the same country as me. So she's actually in Nigeria, and we just started talking on LinkedIn, and she works for a UX UI company, like she works for like a web design company. And she was talking about that she has a partnerships program. She's looking for people to refer those services in order to get some type of commission back on my side. And we started talking, talked about like what I was trying to do as a partner and where I go. And I didn't realize that I'm around people that have startups that need apps and websites and all of that. And through the
Mm.
conversation, she helped discover that I'm actually around a lot of the people that need those services. So it was like a no-brainer to sign up to be a partner, because I'm like, yeah, I'm always around people that need websites. I just didn't realize it, but now that I'm aware of that, like, yeah, I'll love to sign up and send some deals over. And that's really sometimes what it takes. Like sometimes you might have potential partners all around you. You just need to kind of talk to them a little bit and just find out just what they do on their day to day, where they go, because they might be around your potential customer and without even
Mm-hmm.
knowing. So that's probably
Mm-hmm.
the biggest advice, is just being curious and diving a little deeper into people's lifestyles and day to day.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Um, so the next question is, where do you see, channel sales going in, moving forward? I know we have like lots of very early startups that, we don't know if they're going to churn or not, if they are ever able to get to that, enterprise level of like Microsoft or NetSuite. But what's the trajectory for you? What do you see as like the future of channel sales?
Yeah, so I definitely foresee that we're going to have a lot more implications from AI, and it's the implications that people aren't really going to notice at first because AI
Mm,
is using a lot of processing power, a lot of data. It's requiring really, really fast internet. It's requiring low latency, which is just like that delay from the internet to a person's business. So
mm,
there are more and more companies building more and more data centers. And sometimes they're not really
mm,
big data centers. There's some smaller data centers, and they're popping up all over because they're trying to get those data centers closer to people's businesses in order to process those AI prompts and everything closer, so there's less wait. So that's going to create opportunities for a lot more partners to sell data center solutions, to sell internet in those data
mm,
centers, to
mm,
sell
mm,
the actual hardware, the physical servers. And we're going to have more undersea fiber as well, because how the internet gets from like where I am right now, how we're making this phone calls, there's like physical fibers that are under the ocean right now that are going from basically New York to Lagos currently. There's an undersea fiber connection, and there's
mm,
going to need more of those. Like there's going to be a lot more activity on that side, and also satellite internet is getting better. So you might have heard of like Tesla with Starlink, that Elon Musk is doing. So he has his satellite internet. Satellite internet is going to be a
mm,
game changer because once we can get all countries online equally at a really, really, really fast internet, like 100 megabits per second or 200 megs per second, it's going to be a game changer. Like just having everyone now with equity and technology, the amount of things that you can sell to all of these countries as they start to get online, as satellite internet starts to become available, there's businesses that people are going to be able to sell. There's going to be new companies going to be popping up that never had the technology before. So all of that is going to create a boom when it comes to that. So definitely keep an eye out for AI software, but keep a closer eye out on the infrastructure and the internet. That's really
mm,
where the
mm,
big is going to be.
mm, thank you so much. I totally agree with you, having firsthand experience. So I think I just keep it at this last question. I know there are some business owners that are here. So if you could, drop some tips, some best practices, for recruiting and onboarding like um uh candidates from sales to like say channel sales.
Yeah, so I'll say so I'll provide two answers for the business owners. So first thing for business owners, if you have a product, like if you have like a fintech product, or if you have maybe a bundled service that you sell, I think building out a channel program is super important. And you don't necessarily have to build that out locally. You can find people internationally that would be willing to sell, resell, refer your service, just bring somebody over to you, just bring an introduction. And I would say that when you build it out, just think of like, what percentage of money would you be willing to give away if someone just handed you a really good customer? Like if you were like, if let's say you had like going back to that concept of web design. So you do web design, that's your main business. If I were to give you like the best customer and they're like, yes, I want a website, I want an Android app, I want an iOS app, and all of that, what percentage of that deal that they would pay, let's say they pay, I don't know, $25,000 US for that service. Um, what percentage of that would you be okay with giving away? Like what percentage of that margin? 5%, 10%? Once you can figure that out, then I would say definitely look into getting partners and people that can refer those things to you, because there's a lot of partners that want to get into referring more products other than just the products that they're offering right now. The second thing is that if you are going to be building out like a if you do have a business, your business can be a partner too. Because keep in mind, like you can have a channel program, but you can be a partner of products and services. Like you might be an implementation company, maybe like you help people with like with NetSuite and you help people actually get the NetSuite implemented for
Mhm.
other businesses. Well, hopefully you
Mhm.
are also a partner like with Oracle and maybe with Microsoft Dynamics and all of that. So when you recommend these businesses to first get that services, you're getting a piece of that percentage. And I think that's the main thing, because I know a lot of people right now that do implementation. I actually know someone that did implementation for years. So basically their whole business was around just being the person where once the deal was all done, they get the phone call and their company like installs it. Their company sets it up. Their company, basically makes the service work. And that person didn't realize that while they're making it work, they're also telling the person, hey, this isn't going to work because you need Microsoft, or you need Amazon, or you need this, or you need that, or you need Five9, or you need this. They didn't realize that those recommendations of you need this, you need this, you need this, in order for me to make this work, you need this, they could have just signed up to be a partner and got paid off of each one of those recommendations, but they never did. So throughout those
Mm.
years that they had this business, they lost out on millions and millions and millions of dollars, like US dollars. Like they lost out because they never registered themselves as a partner. So I think it's very, very important to, if you have a business, what products and services do you recommend to customers? And are you a official partner of all of those products and services? Are those companies paying you for the recommendation? And what I also recommend is just think of this concept. When it comes to these big tech companies or anything like that, don't recommend anything unless you are registered as a partner with those companies
Mm.
and getting your
Mm.
fair share of compensation. So that's my recommendation.
Mm. Thank you so much. That's a lot of value. Um, so just to wrap it up, like like I mentioned as we talk, please, I think we have just 3 minutes. But if you have any questions, you can follow, you can reach out to Ty. Personally, he's very chatty, mostly on I think LinkedIn, yes.
Pretty chatty.
So so I'll drop his LinkedIn link here. Please connect with him. He is I I think one day we'll just set out like an event just to speak on how much value Ty has been to like Texas Nexus, and just to thank him for that, we'll set up a different conversation for just for that. So Ty is very selfless. Yes, he's very open to help. So please reach out to him on LinkedIn and chat with him about channel sales. This is a topic that he's very passionate about, and having he also has very good experience, in channel sales. So just to wrap it up, Ty, I know we have like a mix of people from like different countries. So what is optical diversity? What do you do? How can people come in? How can people partner with you in what you're doing?
Yeah, so basically, I'm a channel partner, so I resell mostly telecommunication services here in the U.S., and I'm trying to get into more globally as well. But I also empower people. So if you are anywhere and you have the ability to go on the internet, find a good potential lead, and you want to get paid on this lead, like you see something anywhere, like you see something here in the US, it's like, hey, this is a business that might need internet service. And I was chatting with them on LinkedIn, and yes, they do need internet service, or they need cloud services. If you want to get compensated for that and you want to be a part of this partner ecosystem, like I'm willing to partner with anyone that can help find potential leads, opportunities, and all of that. Like I'll jump on the call and sell it. Like, if you can basically queue up the opportunity, and whatever commissions that we'll get, we can split it down the middle, or figure out something, similar to that. But that is what I'm offering anyone globally. And because keep in mind, especially if you are in a different country, doesn't matter what your currency is in that country. If you sell something, especially here in the US or in the UK, and you're getting a commission on that, that commission is coming in regardless from that local currency rate. So, you know, that is the thing to keep in mind. That's the currency neutralizer. But yeah, that's basically what I do.
Okay, now that I know, I'm definitely going to find a way to reach out to you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ty. This was a very wonderful session. Do not forget, this session was brought to you by Tech Sales Nexus. We are a sales community here in Nigeria, but we have, like Ty mentioned earlier, we have people from around the world. people from Africa, we have people from Canada, US, and we're trying to build that synergy between, sales outside of Nigeria and African sales, like Western world. Learn how it is, and find ways of bringing some of the things that they have, they're here. So join Tech Sales. Here is the link. Join Tech Sales Nexus. Come and hear or see what we're doing. It's a project I and Gertrude are very passionate about, and we really want to see it work. Thank you so much again, everyone, for being here. It was really insightful. Thank you so much, Ty, for taking our time this early to spend with us. Thank you, everyone. And since we don't have a question and I don't see any hands up, thank you, everyone, and I'll give you back your evening.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, Ty.
Thanks a lot for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Bye,
so much.
everyone.
Bye, Gertrude. Bye. Bye.